Hi, hello, welcome to Mr. Navani channel. Today we are going to see about the South Korean action thriller film Confession of Murders released in 2012 directed by Jung Byung-gil. In this video, let's see the plot of the movie and the detailed review with including climax. For plot of the movie, it's about a police officer who is hunted for failing to capture a serial killer in 15 years back and return to the case after a novelist publishes the book I Am the Murderer. Let's start the movie review. The main character of the movie is Choi is a detective who was in charge of hunting down a serial killer who claimed the lives of 10 women from 1986 to 1990. The film starts with a masked man whom Choi suspects is responsible for the kidnapping and possible of murders. At the same time, he commits the murder in front of Detective Choi chasing him through the streets. This high energy run leads to across the city building on foot before the shooter is on nearby rooftop and jumped in the street. But he lost him after a fiery fight that left Choi nearly dead and permanently scar on his mouth turned before the killer vanished. However, Choi managed to shoot him in his shoulder. Now the screen begins in 2005 on the day the 15 years statute of limitation is expired. Statute of limitation is nothing but a civil law system as a perspective period. The law passed by a legislative body to set the maximum time after the event within which the legal proceeding may be initiated. Thus, the rendering prosecution is impossible. Choi is now an alcoholic hunted by his failure to solve the case. He suddenly receives a worrying call from the Jung family members, one of the victims. The Choi rushes to his apartment to convince him, but Jung jumps off the roof and lands through the windshield of the passing bus.
네 마음 아니까 일단 내려와서 얘기하자.
형, 미안해.
너희들아!
Choi is alerted to the news that man called Lee has released a book titled I Am the Murderer, claiming responsibility for the murders that took place 17 years ago. His book contains detailed description of the murders and he even displays a wound in his shoulder where he says Choi shot him, with the bullet still lodged there. His book became a bestseller because of the author's charming look and his claims of repentance for his crimes. He stages public visit to the home of family members to beg for forgiveness and even visit the Choi at his prison. The Choi himself, however, insists that Lee is in fact on impulse. As the media frenzy surrounding Lee increases, some family members of the victims gather together to plot their revenge. They are led by Hung-ji, whose daughter Hung Swang was still missing as a 11th victim. Snakes are released in a Lee's hotel swimming pool during his daily swim, resulting in him getting beaten. The family members then pose as the paramedic unit to send to take Lee to the hospital. They discovered and pursued by a member of the Lee security unit as well as Choi, but managed to get away with the unconscious Lee after the lengthy and dangerous car chase.
야, 이 새끼야! 이 새끼들이! 야, 잠깐 손! 미친이 씨발 새끼! 손 잡으세요!
Detective Choi recognizes who the kidnappers are, but refuses to reveal his suspicion. Instead, he goes out of his way to track down where Lee is being held, and stages a daring rescue, much to the consternation of the family members. He leaves Lee in a motel room with a note telling him to not make a fuss but the incident if he valued his life. Lee, for his part, tells the media that the kidnappers were a group of overzealous fans and that he will not press charges. A television station then invites both Choi and Lee to be a debate show to discuss the case. A daughter of one of the victims decided to head to the station to kill Lee when he comes out of the studio. During the show, a man calling himself as a Jay, he wants to speak with Lee and reveals that he is known the many personal facts about the Choi. Jay then drops a bomb spell saying that he is in fact the real killer. The Choi then goes to trace the call, while Lee himself is shot when he leaves the studio, resulting in him being hospitalized again. The phone call is traced to the Choi's mother house, where Jay has left a videotape containing the footage of the 11th victim, Hung Xiang, being tied up and killed later. It is then revealed that she was also a Choi's girlfriend once upon. Analyzing the content of the tape, the Choi called to the press conference to tell the public that despite all this, it cannot be determined where Lee or Jay is a killer. Lee continues to insist that he is the real killer, and another television debate is arranged between him, Choi and Jay to settle the matter once and for all. The debate draws thousands of protesters and fans, as well as Hung Ji, who carries a pen filled with a snake venom, intent upon using it. Jay arrives, and it is immediately became apparent that he is in fact the killer. As he arranged for the camera crew to be lead to the remains of his final victims, Hung Xiang confronted with this. Lee then makes his own revelation, admitting that he is not the killer and also he did not write the book. In fact, it was Choi who wrote the book in attempt to flash out the real killer, using his own detailed knowledge of the crimes. Lee turned out to be a Jung, who worked together Choi to fake his own death, who underwent a plastic surgery to assume a new identity. Although surprised at the elaborate scheme, Jay claims that the Choi cannot do anything to him, as the statute of limitation has expired long. Choi then plays a tape of Hung Xiang, revealing that the radio broadcasting in the background proves that the footage was shot almost to the exact date in 1992, and that is in fact he still have 14 minutes until the statute of limitation truly expires. Jay then admits that he kept Hung Xiang with him for 2 years, and then when he finally decided to kill her, she claimed to be carrying his child in the vein, hope that he won't spare her. This enraged Choi so much that he attempted to kill Jay, but Jay makes an escape, leading to the another intense chase scene.
오야 씨발!
Finally, Choi catches Jay and stopped from killing him just in time. Both Lee and Hung-si try to kill Jay. He is being led away in handcuffs, but it ends up being Choi who stabs him with a poisoned pen, thus avenging all the victims and preventing any of the family members from being convicted of the crime. The film ends in 5 years later in 2012, when Choi is released from a jail to be greeted by the media and a grateful group of victims' family members. It is also mentioned that because of this case, the statute of limitation was extended to 25 years. Thank you.